Okay, hello. Saturday was a bit of a disaster from an audio point of view. I was kind of happy with the class, but having listened back to it, not having this mic wasn't ideal. So here we go. We're going to do the class again, or I'm going to do it for you, and it is now for you because we have to maintain some sort of standard, don't we? So we were looking at shoulders, we were looking at things like scapular movement, both in protraction, scapula's coming forward and around the ribcage, retraction, and then a little bit of flexion. I've now wiped it off the board, so it may be a little bit different, but mainly the things will be the same. I'll be able to take a little bit more time with my explanations. And yeah, it's for you to enjoy. I think I'll do the full thing. So we'll do the cars as well and you can follow on. I was doing, just before that, I was waffling on about controlled articular rotations in particular and using that as a topic of discussion to kind of let you inside my mind as a coach and to kind of try to put across the fact that I'm trying not to be too dogmatic about what we do in the mobility thing, in the mobility training. Now that is because somebody asked me some questions the other day that made me think, it made me feel a little bit insecure about the answers that I was giving. And, a lot of my job is saying, well, it depends. It depends. And I suppose with that kind of an answer, the other side of that coin is that you have to make a decision on something so that we can kind of move forward. So I just want to be clear that the stuff that we do in this session is a systematic approach to the literature that is already out there. There are many modalities, yoga, static stretching, all the types of yoga, all other types of mobility training that have elements that we use. All right. So this is an exclusive club and they've reinvented the wheel and other things don't use this stuff. It is just their interpretation of what is out there and a systematic approach with how to use that. Now, it will develop over the years. So what I teach in 5 years' time may not be the same thing. That's part of the process of continued learning and exploration. I think I just felt a bit sort of worried that I was saying that this is the be all and end all. And I felt like I didn't want people to be like sort of wasting their time doing this if they could be better spent doing something else. So to bring it back specifically with cars are they have a very low entry level. Okay, if you're looking to move your body more, this is a systematic way in which to do that, where you know that you are hitting all of your joints and exposing them to all of the movement that you can currently do. That's not to say that you couldn't get the same benefit from doing a Zumba class or to do anything else that you wanted to do. The caveat to that is that when I do anything, let's say I do the same Zumba class all the time, that in a way has made me commit to a certain movement or certain movements. And therefore, by choosing those certain movements, I cannot do the other bits, all right? Because I've had to make that choice. The cars is a low entry level to saying, okay, well, let's take that joint all the way through its full range of movement. Because in the Zumba, if I was doing everything here, it was all there, I wouldn't have put my shoulder back here, and therefore I have missed out on an opportunity to expose my shoulder to that. Now, if you didn't do that once, that would be fine. But we do know that if you just do the same things over and over again, so another example would be the sitting or everything being in the front, we get round shouldered, we get that neck to come forward. Okay, because we didn't expose ourselves to maintaining stuff back here. Again, I'm kind of waffling, but there you go. It's a free session. So let's start by doing the cars, because that's how we start a session. With each circle that you go through, you can start to put in a little bit more irradiating tension, bracing core, okay, and putting in a little bit more intensity into each circle. All right, after that, we're going to do a little bit on the breath, which is also what we did the other day, just to kind of get this rib cage behaving, or you understanding where your rib cage is in space and how that position of that rib cage can affect your ability to achieve certain positions, particularly with the shoulders. All right. Okay, so you find your space and now you can follow on with me. So we'll do top to bottom as we always do, pretty much. All right. So we're going to move on next. Without moving anywhere else, I want you to take a double chin, peel down one vertebrae at a time, and then open up one vertebrae at a time. Peel down. Maintain that flexion, and then scrape your chin across your collarbone to the right without turning anywhere else in your body. When you reach the end range there, put your ear behind your shoulder. We don't want any pain on the closing side, only stretch on the open side. And as you put behind, you don't want to be leaning. Okay? Up, across, chin across the collarbone, and reverse. Second circle, but with a little bit more tension. I suppose the nice thing about doing this now is you can watch it, listen, and maybe have some music on in the background. Maybe you do that on a Saturday. Okay, you do that upper portion of your back now, the thoracic spine. Again, you need to do this from a comfortable position for you. Chin down, forward fold through the upper portion of that back. From there, we rotate to the right again. Max out that rotation through your torso. Take your right shoulder and put it in your right pocket. Feel the stretch and on the left-hand side flank of your body. Sternum up towards the ceiling now. And then extend fully. Rotate to the left. Left shoulder, left pocket. Exhale. And then forward fold again. Sensation should be across your shoulder blades, into that upper region of your back. Left shoulder, left pocket. Sternum up towards the ceiling. Across the body, or across the midline. Right shoulder, right pocket. Forward fold. It is a tricky one to do here, but when you do connect with it, it's a really nice one to do throughout the day and sort of counters a lot of that forward posture in hands. Where was I? Left, open. Okay. Let's go into the wrists, all right? One hand holding your forearm so that you don't, or you can feel any compensatory movement rotating in towards the midline. Open palm to start. I want you to bring your fingers towards you, your palm towards you. Once you max that out, take your little fingers in towards the middle, keep straight at the fingers, and then open up. Show me you got nothing in your palm. Thumb the lift on the outside and complete that circle back to where you started. You can think about balancing your iPhone on your forearm there. Doesn't have to be your iPhone, bottle cap, anything really. Just an imaginary thing. No movement from that forearm. Same circle again, open palm. Now you can do this with a fist. Other side. And if you did do it with a fist, it would feel different. Same wrist, completely different because you're putting in a different demand, different shapes. This is where we start to see the difference between left and right. All right. I used to sort of approach mobility with trying to balance up any of that asymmetry. I think probably, for me at least, that was becoming a bit of a, wasn't making me enjoy the training too much. I think it's okay to accept that left and right sides are different. Really, it may be more beneficial to you to try and just get each side as good as it can be. If that ends up balancing things out, so be it. But asymmetry exists for a reason. We are left-handed rather than right-handed, all right? So to fight against that or butt heads against it all the time can sometimes probably cause you just a little bit more frustration than it's probably worth. Both hands now externally rotated. So trying to take your little finger as much to the outside as possible. Keep going there as you then bring up into elbow flexion. You can see now that my little fingers are probably outside the line of my bicep. I rotate from the elbow in towards the middle. Not just rotating my hand, but pushing across and then extending. Up, rotate. Trying to get those little fingers as much to the back walls as possible and then open again. Up, rotate. Keep going with that. The two arm bones in here, okay, your ulnar and radius, they rotate over each other, and that's what causes that forearm rotation here. If anybody's suffering from a little bit of tennis elbow or golfer's elbow, if you're struggling, if you look in the mirror, if you don't have a huge amount of that travel, that movement, that may be an indication that sort of something, an area to work on, freeing up a little bit more of that room and then strengthening that new range can go a long way to alleviating some of that stress and strain, okay? Okie dokie, everybody can lie on there. Oh no, sorry. All right, nice slow. Across the body now, open palm. We're gonna go rib cage down, up past the face, work back into shoulder flexion. Rotate from the shoulder and reach behind. Keep rotating as you reach behind and bring the back of the hand down by the side of the body to face in. Repeat the opposite way, so shoulder back, reach behind you like you're in a relay race. Rotate that shoulder up past the ear the way you came, down. Now not everybody will get as much flexion, certainly, but I'm getting there. So the stop point is as soon as you feel any change in your torso. Okay, maybe you've come to here, but you're thinking, I've got to get my arm higher than that. You start leaning back. That movement is now coming from your spine, not your shoulder. So we want this to be a fair reflection of what your shoulder can do. So if you get to here and you feel like you're going to use compensatory movement to go any further, just stop, rotate, and then back. We want, with the cars, it's what the expression of what you can do at that particular joint rather than this joint and that joint. Okay, across the body again, up as high as you can without moving anywhere else in the body. Rotate and reach back. Stretch behind. Rotate that thumb up and across. Nice. Other side. Left hand across the body. As you come up, you're still reaching across. So you're going to get a nice stretch under here. Past the face, past the ear, rib cage down. Rotate, reach behind, stretch that shoulder back. Rotate the thumb, using this hand to figure out where my rib cage is. Across the body, up and over, rotate, lift. Okay, people can lie on their side now, even though it's going to be pretty much, well, in fact, all shoulders. Just for good measure, best practice, let's do a little bit of hip rotation, knees, ankles, toes. Okay, so we're going to bring that top leg in, shorten tissue. Bottom leg is at 90 degrees, and you're balancing yourself here. In, shorten that tissue. Open up like a dog having its belly scratched, as much as you can. From here, start to rotate internally, so knee comes towards the floor almost, foot towards the ceiling, and then donkey kick back, keep internally rotating. From there, lower down, Bring it in again. Shorten. Push the bottom leg down, open up, feel that stretch. Try not to roll onto your back. Stay shoulders closed. Internally rotate. Donkey kick. Lower down. For those people who are not sure whether they're moving too much from the spine, you can take your hand, put it in between your lower rib and your hip. From here, donkey kick, lift. This is where you might start moving in your spine a bit more. So you can use that feedback, rotate, up, down. This right hand now, if you can feel lots of stuff moving around where your finger, thumb and forefinger are, you know perhaps that you need to slow down a little bit, maybe reduce the range a little bit so that you can stop moving or getting your spine to do the work of a hip. Other side. 90 degrees. Oh, let's get this. Shorten tissue. Open up. Rotate. Donkey kick back. Down. In. Open. Dog having a belly scratch. Rotate. Donkey kick. Keep trying to rotate there. Lower down. Donkey kick back. Lift. Up and over. Last time. Donkey kick back. Up. Nice. Okay. So for our knee rotations, okay, we look down the length of our shin. I've really become conscious about me breathing like always. I'm trying not to huff and puff too much or have too much of that interference. So we're looking down our shin. We want to see the whole of that shin rotating to both the outside or externally and internally without any lag time from the foot. So as the knee moves, the big toe comes along and all the rest of the toes come along for the ride. What you may find is that you are externally rotated, and I say come in through the middle, and it's just your foot that moves and then the knee comes. That is what we're going to try and stop by thinking and connecting with this stuff at the back of the leg. So from there, looking down your shin, you can feel into the back of the thigh, start to take externally to the right, shortening the tissue on the outside of your thigh. You can think about digging your heel into the floor, back towards the middle, internally. So I've reached the end of my internal rotation from the knee, but then that foot wants to go a bit more, but that's not coming from my knee now. External rotation. Internal. External. Internal. Nice. Stay on the same side. Let's do the ankle. So if you have the room, you can come underneath, grab the bicep, back of the knee, lift up. Ankle out to the outside. So we rotate it out to the right. That's eversion. Keep everted. So we've tilted that foot. As you then go through the point, squeeze, back in, back up to the top. Invert now. Through the middle, back up. Evert, round, pushing right to the edges. Don't worry if your ankle starts making noise here, that's kind of normal. Back up, nice. Knee on this side, you can see I've got this nice big bump here, Osgood Slatters back in the day. Same thing, using these muscles in the back of the leg like a kite string, pulling left hand down, takes that knee, rotates out to the side. The whole of the shin moves, big toes, little toes, everything out to the side. Connect with this stuff on the outside of the thigh. You might be able to see it move. Come back through the middle, internal. External. Internal. External. Arm underneath, lock it off, lifting up. Eversion with the ankle, so tilt out to the left. Keep everting, only moving at the ankle, through the point, internal or inversion, and then invert, and then round. Back up. Second circle. Nice, okay. You can do some toe movements from a plantar flex position. So you're going to point your toes, keep pointing, pull your knees towards you. As soon as you get 3 points of contact on the floor, oh, cramp. 3 points of contact on the floor, so the ball of your foot underneath your little toes and the heels. Now look down, try not to see any compensatory movement coming in and out, and I want you to lift all your toes up off the floor. Down. Big toes down, little toes up. Down, little toes down, big toes up. Push the ball of your foot down into the floor. Down, all toes up. And then try and put your little toe down first. Same again, all toes up. You might feel that up here, to be honest. Down, big toes down, little toes up. Little toes down, big toes up. Right, so roll to the outside. Down, all toes up, and then give them a spread. Okay, into the sort of main bit of the session now. So our shoulder comprises of this shoulder joint and then also the shoulder blade. Okay, and we both need both to work well, or both to have good control and range in order to have a healthy, to have a shoulder that has the ability to do lots of different stuff. You can definitely have a pain-free shoulder that just moves here. You're just probably not going to be that great at doing pull-ups and stuff. So we want to today learn how to control our shoulder blades, all right? And then we're going to put that together with some shoulder flexion work and then combine the two right at the end. So when we move our shoulder blade, we have elevation, protraction, we have retraction, squeezing together, and depression. The two positions I want to work on today are protraction in any number of, okay, and squeezing. But then I've just remembered, I'll come back to that. I've forgotten about the breathing thing. Right, everybody can lie on their back. Often in a session, I'll be saying, right, take air in, rib cage down. Well, what do I mean by that? I mean, if you've never done it specifically, it might be difficult to do it and do something else. So let's just spend 5-10 breaths concentrating on what it feels like to get this rib cage to travel inwards and down towards the hips. Well, the reason I've got you lie on your back is so that you can have feedback from the floor. So throughout this whole set of breaths, we should have contact with the floor through the whole back, not be arched up. If you can't get your lower back or the rest of the whole of your back on the floor, that's what I want you to work towards every time you breathe out. We start to create pressure into the floor through your back. Some of you will need to support your heads here because it will feel like you're like this. Okay, so do support your head with a cushion, pillow, yoga block, whatever you've got. All right. So what we can do is take a couple of breaths initially where the contact into the floor is through our whole back. And then as you breathe in, I want you to have one hand on your belly. I want you to take a nice deep breath in through your nose, but without, what am I trying to say here? Right, I want you to breathe in deeply, pushing the diaphragm down, but not just distending your belly. Okay, so we've got to breathe deep down here, but without this hand rising too much. Okay, so I breathe in. Breathe out. 4 more breaths, just focusing in. Breathing deep in here, not just into the throat, but without your hand coming up. Hopefully what you can feel is increased pressure in the posterior or in the back of the rib cage as that expands into the floor and outwards towards the side. Breathe in again. Two more. Increase pressure into the floor, but without your hand coming up. Last one. Breathe in. Okay, so we can remove that hand now because we're getting the feedback of increased pressure into the floor as we breathe in. The two hands now want to go onto the sort of crest of the rib cage here. So you've got a little bit of soft tissue underneath your fingers, and then you've got the hard bit of your ribs underneath the heel of your palm. All right. As we breathe in, the same thing, increase pressure. But as I breathe out, I'm going to apply a little bit of pressure to my rib cage with my hands. And guide my rib cage downwards towards my hips. So I'm pushing sort of that direction. My hands aren't actually going to move, but the direction of force is downwards. Okay. Breathe in again without the belly rising too much, but feeling pressure through the posterior or the back. Breathe in. Breathe out. Rib cage down towards the hips. Some of us, as we do that and let that rib cage go down, we're going to feel stuff going on in our necks. All right. That's okay for now. Breathe in. Pressure into the floor. Breathe out. Relax the rib cage or contract it down. That position where the rib cage is down and you're fully exhaled, that's what we mean by the position of your rib cage to be downwards. The sternum is being pulled down towards the hips, and that kind of locks in and creates a little bit of intra-abdominal pressure, okay, rather than being flared up here. If you allow your lower back off the floor now take a deep breath in. A lot of that breath stays up here and we don't get an opportunity to squeeze and create pressure with this abdomen. All right? If we take a position, say, in the 90-90 now, as you breathe in, I say take a breath in, lock that rib cage down, and then you can move. Okay, so breathe in. Exhale, breathe that rib cage down. Keep that locked in and then move and do whatever the movement is from there, but without this rib cage moving, popping up and down. Okay? So I'll be saying that breathe that rib cage down And then we will start either pails and rails efforts or maybe circles from there. All right. I hope you found that useful in the context of today's session. Right. So I was talking about protraction of the shoulder blades coming forwards, or that's the shoulder blades sliding forwards across the rib cage. And then we're also going to work a little bit on retraction. All right. The protraction position we're going to work from is an all fours position. Okay. If you have a little bit of sticky wrists, let's say, you can do this on your fists. So the position I want to start in is all fours, knees under hips, hands under shoulders. And we start from a sort of neutral position with our spine. And then I want you to push the floor away from you, causing sort of rounding through that upper back. But rather than just folding like this, what you're actually doing is pushing that shoulder blade, or pushing your hands forward, bringing that shoulder blade round. Okay? It's almost like you're punching through the floor. I'm just going to take a couple of breaths here, trying to find your end range. You're going to be getting stretch now on the back side, okay, across the shoulder blades. From here, we're going to then incorporate a pails and a rails contraction, one after the other. The pails contraction in this instance is going to be to try and contract everything that would help you retract your shoulder blades or pull them together. But because it's an isometric, you're going to maintain this end range of protraction. So you're going to stay in this position, hands as far forward as possible, but you're going to contract all the muscles that would help you pull your shoulders into retraction. We're going to build that up through percentages up to about 60% of your maximum effort. And then we're going to switch to a rails contraction, which is to push deeper into this shape. So we're going to think about contracting all the muscles that would help you push your arms into the floor even more. Okay? And your torso is, or your sternum is probably going to get away from the floor. Everybody take a breath in. Breathe the rib cage down. Keep that locked. And now start to think about all the muscles that would help you retract your shoulders. Then you can breathe normally. Thinking about pulling those shoulder blades together. Up to 60% and hold. Shorten your breath, bring the rest of your body up to 60%. Hold for 10, 9, still trying to pull together. 5, 4, 3, 2, take a breath in. As you breathe out, breathe the rib cage down, push the floor away. Sternum should be getting further away from the floor now. Build that up to 60% of your effort. Really trying to push the floor away, take the sternum away from the floor. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Relax. Take another big breath in. Breathe out, breathe that rib cage down. See if you can push into a little bit more room. Okay, before we do that again, I want to move now through some shoulder blade circles. So we're going to start neutral. Going to bring those shoulders forward into protraction, so the movement that you've just done. Imagine you're trying to get these two bones to touch in the front. Keep them protracted as you elevate. Keep them elevated as you start to squeeze together. Squeeze together as you then try and put your hands in your pockets. Okay. From the front. Protract. Elevate. Retract. Hands in pockets. Back the other way. Squeeze together. Elevate. Protract. Pockets. Last time. Squeeze together. Keep that rib cage down. Elevate. Keep elevated as you protract forward. And punch down. Second round doing this. If you had enough on your wrist, you can go to your fists. As much protraction as you can possibly get, so really push into the floor. Deep breath in. Breathe out. Breathe that ribcage down. Start to contract everything that would help you pull your shoulder blades together, even though you're going to stay in this retraction. Build it up to 60 again. Hold it at 60. Shorten your breath. Five, 4, 3, 2, 1. Punch harder into the floor, take your sternum away. Contracting all the stuff that helps bring those shoulders forward and to the front. Up to 60 again. Sternum away from the floor. Hold for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Take another breath in. Fully relax. See if you've got a little bit more room. Back into the shoulder circles, maybe from a different position this time. So hands in front. Punch forward into protraction. Should feel like you're going a little bit further. Elevate. Retract. Depress. Punch. Back the other way. Squeeze. Elevate. Punch. Down. Okay, so that's a little bit of work in protraction. I want to look at retraction now. There's a lot of ways that you can sort of train this. We've done it in the past where we lay forward, arms bent, and work from here. Today I'm actually going to get you to do it standing from the wall, standing up against the wall. Okay, so I'm just going to change the camera here. All right, I think. Let's move this. So, I know for me here, I'm going to have benefited from doing that work on the floor about positioning of my rib cage. So I'll do a couple of demos, do a couple of do's and don'ts, and then we will do the reps. So definitely just watch this bit for now. The position I want you to get into is leaning ever so slightly into the wall on an angle, 1 foot forward, hips square, fists into the wall. Okay? Now we're going to work retraction of the shoulder blades, but from a depressed position. So shoulder blades feel like they're going into the side pockets. Okay? So I'm going to allow my shoulders to sit into depression, and then I'm going to use or allow my body weight here, leaning into the wall, to take me into as much retraction as I can possibly get into. Okay? Now, that feels like the shoulder blades are coming together, like you were holding a pencil between your shoulder blades. Because I personally am missing a little bit of that, I fake it a lot of the time by lifting up. So one of the things I'm really trying to work on here is to, as I bring my shoulder blades together, is to not do this. Okay, I want to keep my rib cage down. So I'm thinking as I'm working towards that end position of that work we did on the floor. Now what that means is it probably will feel to me like I'm not going as far as I normally go. But when I normally do it, the reason it feels so far is because my shoulders actually haven't moved any more than they would do, but I've arched my back, which gives me a different sensation. Okay, so just be aware of where that rib cage is. Remember to breathe it downwards. we're going to be doing a passive range hold. So what that means is you're going to go into as much retraction as you possibly can. We're then going to say, okay, let's come out of that just a little bit, maybe 10 degrees or so, and then build up a contraction there to try and hold that position. That contraction is done with the regressive tissue, so all the muscles that would help you pull deeper into that shape. You're going to build that up to a safe effort and then lift yourself off the wall, holding that position. So let me do one for you. Up against the wall. Use the weight of your body with your rib cage down to allow you to go to scapular retraction. Come out of your end range scapular retraction just a little bit. Rib cage is still down. Start to contract all the stuff that would help you pull your shoulder blades together. Get it up to a safe effort. Keep squeezing. And then pull off the wall. Keep holding. Keep squeezing together. 4, 3, 2, place the hands back on. Allow yourself to go to that end range again. Breathe that ribcage down. Come away from that end range. Now contract all the stuff that would help you get into more retraction. Ribcage down. Get it to a safe level. And then away from the wall. Nothing changes. 3, 2, 1. One more. All the way to the end range. Shoulder blades should feel like they're relaxed into the back pocket. Come out of that end range just a little bit. Squeeze together. Build it up to a safe effort. Ribcage down. And lift off the wall. 4, 3, 2, 1. Place down. Right. For some of you, that will feel very, very peculiar. In fact, even for myself, I actually don't feel like I've got bad scapular movement, right? But we are now asking you to work right at your end ranges. So when I move my scapula in these tiny circles, I kind of feel okay. But actually, once I get towards the outer limits, I just have less experience there. That's kind of the whole premise of some of this stuff is based on, is to give you more exposure to your end ranges. And it's at those end ranges that things are most likely to go wrong. Anyway, I don't want to be fear-mongering, but if there you felt like all out of sorts and like, I'm not really sure what I'm connecting with and stuff, when you are doing your cars of a morning or in a session at the beginning here, really slow them down and make sure that you are working right to the outer limits. Again, we're working both shoulders together here, but you could do this. If you feel like there's a big difference between one side and the other, you could do this single arm. Could take one arm, allow the weight of my body to push me into full retraction, come away from that ever so slightly, rib cage down, try to pull into more retraction and then lift off. Okay, I think in subsequent sessions we will do that. We're going to go back in for a second set of 3 with a 5-second hold, working both at the same time. Okay, so leaning into the wall, you can change your feet around if you want, hips closed. Allow your body weight to push you into as much retraction of the shoulder blades as possible. Rib cage down. Come out of that end range slightly. Now try and activate everything that would help you pull your shoulder blades together. Get it to a safe level, arms long, and pull away from the wall. 2, 1, place onto the wall. Go to end range. Come out of end range ever so slightly. Now contract everything that would help you pull your shoulder blades together. Keep that contraction as is and lift off the wall. Place back onto the wall. Last time, down. You may have spotted that I've started doing this again. I'm really trying not to. Ribcage down. Squeeze together. And lift off. 2, 1, and place down. Okay. For those that can, I want you to go back down onto your forearms, onto all fours now, and start doing some loaded shoulder circles, either from the all fours position here, working through elevation, all those 4 movements, or you could go from here, same thing, or if you're really spicy, from the press up. If that puts the fear of God into you, just do a level 2 car, which is really just pushing to the outer limits, really taking your time, trying to explore any new range. Okay, 3 circles one way, 3 circles the other way. Retract, elevate, protract, depress. Keep pulling into your back pockets as you squeeze together. That's what we've just done against the wall. Elevate, push, depress, squeeze, elevate, push, down, squeeze together, through. How do you know whether you're moving too much through the back? Well, you could balance something on you. All right, could use this slider. Ooh, hello. Put it into my low back. And if I start feeling that move around, then I know that I'm using compensatory movement to do the work of my scapula. 3 the other way. Retract, depress, protract, elevate, retract, depress, protract, elevate. Okay, so we've done protraction, we've done retraction. Now I want to combine that with a little bit of shoulder flexion. Now, on Saturday, I did this strictly from the prone position, but it may be true that we're working with some people that can't get safely their arm here, in which case asking them to do this stuff on the floor is already going to cause them discomfort. So if you know that you're lacking a fair bit of this, okay, then what you could do is use a broom handle, okay, and you can take your hips backwards into as much shoulder flexion as you can. All right, and that may be more comfortable than having to lie down on the floor, which will require you to be here. I will teach it as I did on Saturday because I've had no complaints, but worth noting, intention is more important than position. Now, for this first one, I'll get my block. What I need you to do is take yourself to your end range. So for some of us that will be, or require, the addition of a block a sturdy novel, okay? Or maybe you can go really far past and you've got to go and use the pole or a table or something. On Saturday I did it like so. So for me, in order to get to my end range, I need this block so that I can build my hand up to a level where I can no longer lift it up actively. So I want to go into my outside of my active range. So I'm face down, I'm breathing my rib cage down, and I'm taking myself to a level where I can no longer get space between my hand and the object. Okay? It is important that we don't have any pain on the back of the shoulder here where the angle is closing, or a pinching sensation. If you are getting that, come down a little bit. Some of you will be more than comfortable on the floor because you can't get your arm up off the floor. Okay? Which is absolutely fine. We're going to do a positional isometric twice through, 20 seconds in each direction. What do I mean by that? Well, you're now at a level where you can no longer lift your arm up. You've breathed the ribcage down. We take a breath, and I want you to contract and imagine you were trying to push your hand down into the floor and through the floor, through, okay? That is going to give you a loaded stretch on the underside of that shoulder. After 20 seconds, I'm going to ask you to contract all the stuff that would help you create space between your fist and whatever object you're pushing into, whether that's the floor or a block, or maybe it's a table or you're holding onto a pole. Okay? You won't get space. If you do, it just means that you weren't at your end range, or you weren't at your end of your active range, and that's fine. Just make sure that your hand goes higher for the next round. Face down. Big breath in. Breathe out, breathe that ribcage down. Lock it in and start to push your fist down into whatever object. Squeeze your legs together. Keep pushing, build it up. If it's your first time here, you feel good at 60%, go. If not, you can build up a little bit more. 5, 4, 3. Change that contraction now to trying to lift. Keep that ribcage down. Contract all the stuff on the back of the shoulder. Two, one. Relax. If you feel like you could go a little bit higher now, fine. If not, stay where you are. Right, if you had a block, you would go from there to there. Maybe that's too much of a jump. All right, but a second round of a positional isometric. Face down. Take a breath. Breathe out, breathe that ribcage down. Push down into the object. Load the stuff on the underside of the shoulder through the armpit. Five, 4, 3, 2, 1. Keep the arm straight. Try and contract. Ribcage down. Everything that would help you get space between your hand and the block. Two, one, relax. Swap to the other side. Now we talked about that asymmetry from one side to the next. Okay, so it might be that the left hand doesn't go as high, maybe it can go higher. Okay, that's fine. Work within your limits and capabilities. Face down again. Build up to your end range, or your end of your active range. So a height where you can only just not lift up. So from here, if I lift now, I'm struggling. I just don't have as much active range or control on this side. Oh, I ain't cramping my foot. Breathe in. Breathe out, breathe that ribcage down. Push down into the block. Build it up to a nice, safe, controlled effort. 2, 1, and switch. Two, 1, relax. Take yourself deeper if you can. Second round. Take a breath. Breathe that ribcage down. Push. Should have stretch on the underside of the shoulder, no pain on the reverse angle. Three, 2, 1, and lift. If you've gone deeper, you're going to feel weaker. Keep the tissues in mind that you're trying to train. Two, 1, relax. Okay. Next thing we're going to do, a little bit of end range control. So I'm going to ask you to work from the floor again. Now, if you are already struggling to get your arm off the floor, then that is what you're going to continue to do. You're going to do another round of positional isometrics, which means to drive down into the floor and then to try and lift up off the floor. Okay? The rest of us, if you can get ground clearance, and I'm using a ball here, but if you don't have that, that's fine. If you can get clearance from the ground, we're then going to try and hold us up as high as we can and do 10 circles, nice refined small circles in one direction, and then 10 circles in the other direction. I'm going to start with my right arm. I'm face down. Take a big breath in. Breathe out, breathe the ribcage down. Lift. Circles. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, other way. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Relax. Switch to the other side. As I said, if you can't get any gap between your hand and the floor, just continue to do positional isometrics. So when I'm counting the 10 circles in one direction, push down into the floor. When I'm counting 10 circles the other way, try and lift your arm up without changing anything else in your body. Take a breath. Breathe out, breathe that ribcage down. Lift. And circles. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Relax. Back over to the other side. Another round. Breathe in. Breathe out, ribcage down. Keep it down, brace and lift. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Last time on this side. Stretching out, head down. Take a breath in, lift. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. 10, 9, 8. And relax. Okay, we finished today with trying to combine shoulder retraction with a little bit of continued flexion. Okay, so I suppose you could consider this to be like a scapular hover with elbow extension. All right. The idea here is to try and be smooth, try and keep end range positions. It's hard. Okay. Might be able to tell that I didn't get a lot of sleep last night. Okay. Face down. Hands to the side of the body in a right arm. I'm going to bend my knees a little bit, only because I'm lacking a bit of room. So I work from here, shoulder blades together. Take a breath in, breathe that rib cage down. As you breathe out and breathe the rib cage down, you're going to squeeze your shoulder blades together. Keep them squeezed now and lift your elbows and fists off the floor. Keep them off the floor as you then straighten your elbow. Rebend the elbow to 90 degrees. Place down to the floor. Take a breath in. Breathe out, squeeze your shoulder blades together. Keep them squeezed as you lift. Keep them lifted as you straighten at the elbow. Come back. Place down. Breathe in. Breathe out, squeeze together. Elevate. Extend. Pull back. Place down. 2 more. Breathe in. Breathe out, pull your shoulder blades together. Elevate. Straighten. Back. Down. Breathe in. As you breathe out, breathe that rib cage down. Squeeze your shoulder blades together. Lift. Straighten. Back. Down. Okie dokie. In between those, we're going to just do a couple of shoulder glenoid circles. So externally rotate right arm up past the face. Rotate from the shoulder. Keep rotating as you reach back. Really keep rotating. Keep that rib cage down. Probably quite tired now. Relay race. Shoulder retracted. Rotate. up, down, across, up, rotate, down, lift up, rotate, up, other side, up, past the face, pushing towards that end range, rotate, stretch back, rotate, rotate, good. Last set, scapular hovers with the hinge. Breathe in. Breathe out, squeeze your scapulars together. Lift. Straighten at the elbow. Back. Down. Breathe in. Breathe out, rib cage down, squeeze together. Squeeze, lift. Straighten. Back. Down. Breathe in. Rib cage down, squeeze shoulder blades together. Lift. Straighten. Back. Down. Breathe in. Squeeze together. I'm tired now. Lift. Straighten. Back. Down. Breathe in. Breathe out, squeeze together. Lift. Straighten. Back. Down. Oh, okay. Last time, pushing right to the edges. As much across as you can. Keep going across as you come past the face. Past the ear. Rotate. Keep rotating as you reach behind. Tap the floor, come back. Up. Rotate. Cross, up, rotate, down. I've got a bit cross-eyed here. Up, rotate. Really trying to push towards the end. Across, up, rotate. Relay race, rotate, up, and across. Okay, that's it, that's the finish. I hope the sound's better, even if you do have to listen to me. Thank you very much. My apologies about the sound on Saturday. I hope you enjoy this. It's yours now for good, and hope to see as many of you I can on Saturday. Okay, namaste.